Okay, so today in this video we have two different computers, as I'm sure you see. The first one is a Compaq Presario, I believe 57 CQ5700f, as the side says. Um, and this is pretty much a prime example of just how bad of a company Compaq was in its sunset years as a subsidiary. And over here, we have a custom-built by me and a friend computer for another friend of mine. And both of these definitely need some kind of repair. I bought this one for the princely sum of $5, and then like $30 to ship it here. If the motherboard is dead or something, I'll probably just wind up selling all the parts and using the case, because I am in desperate need of ATX cases, or really any case at all. And this is micro ATX technically, but whatever. And then this one I'm repairing to give back to the other person. I'm not quite sure why, but Windows 7 on it is giving issues. We'll get more into that later, but for now, let's look at this one. While not exactly the same as the dumpster fire my mom uses at work, this dumpster fire looks a lot like it. It comes with 2 gigabytes of DDR3. My mom's, I think, was DDR2. 500 gigabyte hard drive. AMD Athlon 2 170U processor. That sounds very similar to the one in my mom's. Windows 7 Home Premium 64-bit, which, yeah, that sounds... I think that's what my mom has. And, 2 gigabytes with Windows 7 64-bit was never exactly a great idea. In fact, I think it's just squeaking past the minimum requirement. Comes with a DVD burner, and that's pretty typical for this time period. Shows you what you can do with the computer. Comes with Norton, if it had a hard drive, that is. And down here, we've got a OEM Windows 7 Home Premium sticker. And on the rear of the dumpster fire, we've got the power supply. More on that later. We've got four expansion slots, but not really. And 2 of these are just the part that once you remove them, they're gone forever. And then 2 of them are slots, which that's intensely weird. Case fan, extremely unnecessary for this system. I don't even know why they bothered, just to make it look powerful, maybe. VGA and DVI. I'm pretty sure my mom's at work has only VGA. 4 USB ports. No such thing as PS2. I think my mom's has those. Ethernet. I'm sure it's just fast Ethernet. And you've got line in and out and microphone. Power supply looks outwardly the same as my mom's original power supply, which was replaced due to it being a Best Tech. And that is right. These are from 2011 or possibly even slightly later. And yes, that is right. These are from 2011, possibly even slightly later. But they still were capable of coming with the horrible Best Tech power supplies. And while this one is not that, you can see some immediate cause for concern by the fact that this power supply is evidently much older than the computer. And I have no reason to question that this, whether or not this is the original power supply. I'm almost sure of it, especially due to the part number here, which in this case it actually does mean Hewlett-Packard, although sometimes on power supplies you'll see HPPN, and it will actually mean High Pro. But you can see that this is Light-On made. The power supply is probably fine, if cheap, unlike the Best Tech, but this is not good at all. I'm definitely going to be replacing these immediately. These are very prone for causing fires. And I mean, that's not a problem, but I don't know. Frankly, it's unacceptable to be shoving power supplies this old, or at least old of design, into brand new computers. I believe my mom's original power supply was manufactured in 2006 or something like that. I don't know if we'll be able to figure this out. Do you suppose that really could mean the 42nd week of 2010? Were they really still making power supplies this old of design that late? I don't know. That's really the best thing I can come up with. So this one may actually be contemporary to the system, at least. And the disappointment continues looking at the expansion slots. You can see that there's no real rhyme or reason for why two of these are removed once and then the two of them are normal, because the two expansion things you do get, both single link PCIe, you really only have one that you can remove and then change your mind later. And of course you could have had another single link PCIe and another, a 16 link card, and there is a mini PCIe solder pad, presumably for a wireless option, although you could really use it with any mini PCIe card, I'd imagine. This isn't a business system by any means, so I'd be utterly flabbergasted if they bothered putting a blacklist on it. Or no, whitelist. Yeah, okay. I don't know what that connector would be. It doesn't say anything particularly helpful. Could be a lot of things. 2 gigabytes of RAM. This is DDR3. Well, if it actually is, which I don't think they'd lie about something as big as that. I believe the maximum, you might be able to get 8 gigabytes in here. I'm planning on selling this, so if it's, as long as I can, I'll upgrade it to 6 and call it a day. If not, I guess it'll just have to be 4. CPU power connector is at an angle. I think I've only ever seen that once before, and that was on one where the chipset was at an angle. I don't know what the basis of design choice for that would be. This motherboard, H-apricot, or apricot. I used to be able to tell you who made that, but it slips my mind now. I'm gonna guess Foxconn, but I don't know that for sure. You do actually have 4 SATA ports, which is surprising, with the possibility of 6 having existed. A couple more USB headers were a possibility. But I don't know, it doesn't even have the potential to be an extremely featureful board, but even considering it's missing about half the stuff that it could have. As said, this doesn't have a hard drive. They were nice enough to leave the connector, though, the SATA connector. Supposedly it doesn't have a CPU, but I don't know, I'd find that kind of surprising considering how properly the heatsink is mounted. But I don't know, I might have a CPU laying around that would work in this, an Athlon of some sort. I'm going to assume that this is going to be AM3, not AM3 Plus, which I should be able to work with. And I suppose we never even looked at the front, although we're not missing much. I hate these doors on here, but there you go. CD Plus, apparently. I don't know what the plus means on that. Light Scribe, that was pretty much HP's thing. Although it's a lot more common than Label Flash. And then DVD Multi, and then the RW logo for DVD plus R discs, but I'm sure it is actually rewritable capable. It's not often to have a DVD burner that cannot do rewritable discs. So you have front microphone and headphone. It's very uncommon to see a front line out or line in. I mean, and even though that would be quite useful, you can obviously repurpose the microphone jack for such a task. 2 USB 2.0 ports. I don't know why they bothered to specify that it's 2.0. I guess just to seem fancy, because there is no USB 3 on this computer, and that was a pretty new thing when this computer was made. AMD sticker. I think my mom's has like a red AMD sticker. And then Windows 7 sticker. The garbage, at least in my opinion, new Compaq logo. Really, I don't know. I guess it just completes the brand at that point. So anyway, well, let's hook this up to power and a KVM, and we will see what it does. Given the presence of 2 molded SATA power connectors still, the possibility of having a fire due to the molded, the possibility of having a fire is concerningly real. But so this could very well be a smoke test, especially after some shipping. Well, it's a delayed action smoke test, if anything. Yet the computer isn't even on yet, though. I don't know if I've got 3 or 4 connected to this thing. It wouldn't be a video that I make, no matter the length, if the batteries die in just about the middle of recording. So, I just turned it on, and it is in fact doing exactly nothing. Fans are running a little faster than I think they ought to, so that is probably indicative that there is no processor in here. And the power light is not on, which usually that doesn't need a processor to do that. However, I'm sure it is still off. Oh, wait. Do we have something on the... I guess we'll just try again, considering the KVM is at least detecting that we have something there. Which I would assume that it's at least putting out voltage on one of the VGA pins. Or maybe voltage on the... yeah, I guess it's voltage on the USB port. That's how it tells. Because I found that to be annoying, that that it oftentimes acts very strangely if you don't have a keyboard connected. The keyboard port on the computer connected, which in the case of the USB one is just one connector for USB. But for PS2, you must have a keyboard connected. The mouse doesn't matter. If you do just a mouse, it'll act like the system is not there. Did we get any free CDs? I don't think so. I didn't hear anything. Okay. I didn't tell you to close. Apparently you gotta be fast with this thing. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I will go see if I can find any one of the 2 Athlon processors that should be hanging around here. So I will be back in a few moments, and the camera will go out of focus and come back in, apparently. So I have in fact returned, and I did find one of the CPUs, and while I didn't find the other, it doesn't help that I immediately stopped looking as soon as I found the one. It's not like this is a dual processor system anyway. I'm going to change these SATA adapters first. One thing that I don't exactly like about these new ones is that the pins inside the connector bend up real easy. And they like to force their way out and whatnot. Whatever, I don't need that one. I'll worry about that later. But that is probably why they were literally the cheapest ones available. But they work fine, and they're not going to catch on fire so long as you're not doing something stupid like leaving pins exposed if they get pushed out. It's not often that they actually give me this hard of a time, but I'm recording, so that's probably why. There, finally. Okay, and then plug this in. Nice molded, or nice crimped connector. I would assume it's theoretically possible for a crimped connector to fail and catch on fire, but I'd be surprised if it did within a sane amount of current. That's good enough. And now the CPU. It looks like this should just pretty much come off. Undo that and this too, so it's a little more clear. Hopefully that'll stay. So, well, look at that. There is indeed no CPU. How about that? And that is weird. There's something on there. It's sticky. It looks vaguely like thermal paste, but there's not a whole lot of it. Let's see. Of course, the cat. Anyway, for some reason it is unclear to me which way this CPU thing is supposed to be facing, but I guess I can just look at the, yeah, it should be like that, I think. Yeah, okay. There we go. And, this is not a high power application, and I don't even know if it's going to work yet, so I'm just going to plop this back on there, and I'll worry about the actual thermal conductivity of the unit if needed. But just for a testing purpose, it should be fine. However, if I could manage to get this connector on there, that would be highly recommended. There we go. Okay, there we go. Ta-da! And then we just plug all the connectors back in, particularly the fan. Well, particularly everything, because no matter which one it is you choose to disconnect, the system's not going to work unless this CPU power connector is just there for show, which theoretically I'd say that's possible, but unlikely. Okay, the next smoke test. I know. Professional handiwork. Okay, we got a power light. I would assume that that would mean that it's going to work. However, there's a beep. I may have been well advised to turn on the monitor before, but, well, technically it's a TV, but, it has monitor capabilities, and it is serving the purpose of a monitor currently. Okay, so that is really all we needed. At least to get it to complete a power on self-test. Let me zoom in on the screen a little more. Oh, I missed it. Anyway. Yeah. That's pretty good. Okay, let's actually try to get into BIOS this time, if I can even read what key it is. But unlike a true HP keyboard, this one is a Compaq keyboard, and they provided the pause break key, which HP has decided that it is no longer necessary on keyboards, and I utterly despise them for that. There's any number of keys that I wish that they would have removed instead. So let's see. F10 is what we want. Hopefully a single press did it. Yes, indeed. Okay, CMOS battery's dead. That's not surprising. These things are getting up there, and especially if they, depending on their design, if they spend a lot of time unplugged, they will definitely be draining down their batteries almost completely by this point. So we have 2 gigabytes of RAM. It is definitely DDR3. It's 8500. That might be 800 megahertz, which, if that It's either 800 megahertz or 1066, but either way it's pretty slow, and I doubt it can really make much use of faster. Interesting thing is the presence of the floppy drive thing here, and it actually does give a thing here that you can choose a 1.44 megabyte drive, which I do not remember seeing a floppy drive connector, but you know we're going to look at that now. Normally with the OEM BIOS, they don't just leave stuff around that's not there. PCIe, that's kind of funny because you'd only have a PCIe single link thing as an option. Let's see. Onboard audio auto. Yeah, I guess. But I'll just set that to enabled because, I don't know, I don't want it messing up and thinking that it's not. SATA mode AHCI, yeah, that's right. Okay, power. After AC power, I like to set it to, I guess this is auto rest. Okay, so that's basically the same thing as the last option. Maximum power savings. I'm surprised it doesn't explain it, but basically I think it just, I forget what exactly it does. I think it disables wake-up times, which I don't think anyone actually cares about those. And if they do, they know enough to go in here and make sure that that's off. Okay, virtualization, I never understand why that's disabled. Boot time diagnostic screen, I know what that looks like. It's just a normal BIOS post screen instead of the Compaq thing. So the BIOS is pretty similar, except I don't think on my mom's computer it had that fancy scrolling thing at the top. Okay, so we do indeed have no boot device present. So we'll go ahead and pick out a CD. What do we want to run? You can see my stack of CDs there. None of them are useful. That's simply a queue for installing onto one of my computers. Which I may have to truncate that because I seem to have run out of hard disk space. But anyway, hello phone. There we go. We'll just put this CD in here, and you may have seen that CD before, and I couldn't find the button, so I just pushed it. But that is Q4OS Trinity, 64-bit. Okay, press a key. And now it is booting. Not yet. It's just loading the bootstrap. Dramatic pause, I suppose. It's working on it, I guess. Normally it would display something right about now, but it seems to be keen on not doing that. But I don't think it particularly matters. We'll come back to this. I wonder if it's I almost said it again, possibly. I was wondering if maybe it was displaying to the DVI port for some reason, which doesn't make functional sense, but stuff like that does happen sometimes. But anyway, when this is booted and at the desktop, we will come back and we will just take a test drive of the system and especially look at the temperatures. Okay, so while that was booting, and probably considerable time after that was booting, I looked through my hard drives. I did find a hard drive that I don't care about. It's a laptop drive, but I will be even so fancy as to include this bent piece of metal as an adapter. But as you can see, this thing is working just fine, and unless there happens to be sensor reading information included on this live CD, I'm not going to bother hooking it up to the internet just to install that, and I'll just worry about that later. If it survived this far, with the fans as slow as they are, I doubt it's having any sort of temperature emergency. But of course I could be wrong, and I could be baking it to death right now. Yeah, I don't think there's anything much here. If there's nothing in the control panel, let's see. Hard to believe that this is TDE because it looks rather trash. But it's just a theme, funnily enough. What do you suppose I want? I guess, I don't know. Hardware device manager, I guess, if not information, I guess that might be it. Let's see, processor. So this is just a fancy reader for like the what is it, like /dev/proc directory or something like that. But it's just a fancy readout of whatever that directory is. I don't know if it actually has temperature. It certainly doesn't seem to. But oh well. Yeah, alright, well, we'll survive. Anyway, let's move on. Why is this thing being weird? Okay, anyway, we will move on. I don't know how long that was out of focus for, but what you might have not seen was not really that important. But anyway, we're going to move on to the other computer now, and I will adjust things, and then we will be back. So, this one is ready to go, and ready to be diagnosed anyway, I mean. This is basically a as cheap as possible gaming computer. It certainly can game, but not very well. I guess we're on 3 now. One of the fans sure is sounding rough. I know it needs to be cleaned, so I'll look at that later. But anyway, supposedly a bunch of services are failing to start, so it's sounding like the operating system is corrupted in some fashion. Oh shoot, I forgot all that this thing has a graphics card in it. No wonder I'm not getting output to the display. I don't know if that's just from the fan being weird from being cold or what, but it didn't sound like that a couple of months ago when I last saw this computer. Okay, so now theoretically we should have a display, but it would appear that we don't. Okay, there we go. So, startup repair, I mean, I guess I could try that, but I know it's only appearing for me to turning it off and back on while it was running. Oh, okay, that's new. It wasn't set to blue screen. Okay, so it looks like I might be well advised to disable the automatic restart on system failure type doohickey. Of course, you can't get to that like that. I don't know. How do I get to safe mode with this thing? This is gonna be a pain. Aha! Safe mode. Don't really... Oh wait, why did I choose safe mode? That's definitely not what I want. I mean, if it starts in safe mode like this, that's fine, but I don't actually want it. Yeah, okay, so it didn't anyway. Let's see. That should always be disabled. I don't get why that's a thing for anything except servers. Okay, so system bad config info. That sounds like the registry is corrupt, which there's probably not much coming back from that. I think I'm gonna have to nuke and pave on here. Hard drive may be on its way out. I'm not quite sure about that. I've certainly got a hard drive laying around, but it's not a good one. Because I just reserved a hard drive for the Compaq, and that was my last one that wasn't really that bad. I mean, granted, I did use the hard drive that I'm talking about. It's a Toshiba consumer drive for multiple years, but I don't know what's up with it, but it's just not fast. But anyway, yeah, I guess I'm gonna have to pull the drive and see what's up with this one. But I guess I'll clean this out while I'm at it. But I think I'll just end the video here, and I'll let you know in the comments what exactly the issue was. I mean, obviously, system and config makes it sound like registry. I suppose it could be just drivers or literal system configuration, but I doubt it. So, yes, I will definitely let you know in the video description what is wrong with this. But anyway, thank you for watching the repair, attempted repair of 2 of these computers, and successful repair of 1 so far. So, feel free to leave a comment if you happen to have one, and good night, or day, or whatever. Apparently, I vastly underestimated the how dusty his house is. The owner of this, I think he's only had it for maybe a year and a half. But here, I'll turn it off, and you can see just how much dust there is. It may even be kind of distorting the fan and be why it's so loud. But you can see it's definitely been baking itself.